OG. Daily grind number 5. And no suspense here. You see right off the bat, we are in Diamond. Officially promoted from Ruby 1. And what a run it was. If you watch my previous videos, there is no doubt that it is the most ratty gameplay in the short history of UFL, without a doubt. I did the video on the new patch notes, so hopefully much of this is fixed, and we don't have to play the way we're playing. But with that being said, it's one of those things, if you can't beat it, which you cannot beat it without using these OP methods, right? Then you got to join it. And that's what I did. And as you can see, it was win after win outside of a couple losses. Spoke particularly about that, those 2 losses to Dagger. It's water under the bridge. Extremely laggy games, but it is what it is. So before that and after that, it's just been nothing but success. I'd say I'm at a great point as far as where the meta is, despite the meta not being something that I like and that many people like, right? I'd much rather see football being played. Let's hope after this patch they answer our call. But in the meantime, it is what it is, and we are in Diamond 1 on our way to Premier. One more division to go. There's only one 8-bar division, and that's Diamond 1. So I'm sure it's going to be quite the journey. Obviously, I will document it. But for now, let's go through and see one of the major questions if you're watching the screen as I open up my nonsense rewards, as all rewards in UFL. Hopefully, sounds like they're going to fix that too, although they said that last week with Showdown and it wasn't much of an improvement. Hopefully they do something about both these division rewards and Showdown rewards. But with that being said, you see Haaland there in the center of the screen, not the typical Cristiano Ronaldo with Messi and Camavinga on the side, which I guess that means Camavinga technically is higher rated than Mbappe in this. I didn't even think about that until now. But you see there the big 3 up front. Ronaldo is now replaced by Haaland. I just heard too many good things about Haaland, and you go ahead and be the judge as you see these highlights, what you think, and I'll tell you as we go what I think as far as the difference between Ronaldo and Haaland. I can tell you that these first several games have Ronaldo in here, and he was an impact all the way until his exit. Without a doubt, an excellent player. My thought process was I sacrificed the speed that Haaland has for the more agile Ronaldo. That also has the ultra effect for headers. And he is great at headers. That was a Joe Ellington one. I kind of tricked him out because they were so focused on Ronaldo and it worked there. But typically speaking, Ronaldo's a beast in the air. And the main thing that I wanted to go over, though, is the fact that I absolutely went off of the EAFC version of Haaland as far as thinking Ronaldo, who has juiced up stats in UFL as compared to his gold card in EAFC. So I will just say this for now, that was a mistake to go off that EAFC model of, thinking Haaland was too stiff and Ronaldo would be better on the dribble. I'll go ahead and tell you before you start seeing the Haaland highlights once he joins the team is that he's every bit as agile, if not even more agile, or at least as good, or if not a better dribbler, right? Stats-wise, Ronaldo in UFL is more agile, but Haaland was nothing like I thought he would be on the ball. He's phenomenal and just an absolute monster in the air, despite not having any type of traits for heading. Like Ronaldo has ultra effect heading for a striker. But Haaland just a beast with high heading stats, and I guess it's similar to Mbappe with his finesse shots, even though he doesn't have any kind of effect like how Messi has the ultra effect. I would actually almost argue that Mbappe's finesse shots are more OP than, let's say, like a Messi, right? Based on having them both in my team now. So, who knows? I'm sure those ultra effects and different skill sets do add a bonus, but I'm just saying some players don't need them and they're still OP. As you see Mbappe there cooking, good individual effort from him. And honestly, this good run that I've had, you saw at the beginning there, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I got 2 wins right off the bat, going from Ruby 2 to Ruby 1. Had those 2 tough losses with Dagger Sports. It was super laggy. Luckily, at this point, I didn't turn off the game, which sometimes I do if it's real laggy because I don't want to play lag game after lag game. Just because it takes the skill away from it. You just are so heavy that you can't play at all how you normally would. However, by this point, I knew that it was specific to that individual opponent. So I took those 2 L's, got into my little scuffle with Dagger Sports. If you watch my previous video, that is explained there, and then got back to grinding, and it was just win after win, just like before I went into those 2 games. So we've been on a heck of a run, and I knew, though, based on everything I was seeing and hearing and playing Haaland, that if I wanted to truly have the best attack based on the meta right now, and based on this game, really, and the strongest players, I knew I was going to have to make that change. So I believe here this was my last game with Ronaldo, and he was phenomenal, like I said, all the way up to the end. Great player. I'm not suggesting that you don't get him if you're a Ronaldo fan or feel like you want to play with him in this game. He's great. He will cook for you, without a doubt. But, as you'll see here shortly, Haaland just has that extra juice, particularly in the run of play, right? You see there the purchase of Haaland. He gets into the squad and makes an immediate impact. His 2 biggest areas that he's better than Ronaldo is obviously, well, it's 3 if you include his size, but the 2 that I'm referring to is obviously his speed, being at, mid 90s compared to Ronaldo's at the lower 80s, and his in-play headers, right? Ronaldo's phenomenal, specifically on corners, but I noticed that in the run of play, Haaland's headers are great. You see his first 2 goals here. These crosses are just OP. I mean, that right there was probably further than 10 yards out, which apparently, according to the notes with UFL, is getting patched. But it doesn't really matter where it is. If there's a header to be won, Haaland in the run of play is going to win it. And I noticed that Ronaldo wasn't nearly as effective with those in the run of play headers. And obviously, he just didn't have the speed. And then Haaland, despite thinking he'd be stiff similar to EAFC with some of his dribbling, he's every bit as good at dribbling as Ronaldo in UFL, if not even better, honestly, for whatever reason. You see there, he hits the post from point blank, but he had his buddy Mbappe there to pick up the trash and score. That was kind of a funny one. But, like I said, he made an immediate impact, immediate improvement for me. That's not to say you wouldn't enjoy Ronaldo better, but for me, I have the best 3 up front right now with Mbappe and Messi on the wings. Haaland up front. Obviously running Camavinga and Joe Ellington. I think Joe Ellington's incredible. Would I take Valverde over Joe Ellington if I could? Yes. But considering all the CP you save, Joe Ellington's absolutely a great option. Then in back, Udogie on the left back side, and then on the right side I have Dumfries. Center back, I'm running 3 with Tchouaméni, who would otherwise be my CDM, my number 6, and then Van de Ven and Chamba, who is the lone player. Chamba, the lone player from my original team, as you see Haaland put another one in. So congrats to Chamba. He survived. He's been upgrading with the team. He's phenomenal at center back. And then in goalie, go get this guy, especially considering he's another cheap beast, Skorupski. He's phenomenal at the long shots, okay? So 2 tips I'm going to give you that I learned along the way. 1, for goalkeepers, the lock is extremely important. That lock and then those hands on that lobbed ball. I think it's called improvement on lob shots or something. And then the lock is obviously improvement, a boost on long shots for goalkeepers. So it's a picture of a lock which Skorupski has ultra effect on, and then he has high effect or something on the. Oh no, for him it's just diving, I think. But I'm just saying, if you can find one either with the lock and or particularly if you could get both the lock and those hands on the ball, the picture of those hands catching a ball, which is a good job on catching lobbed crosses, which you see that goal by Haaland, a goalkeeper with the hands would have caught that right there. So that is a tip for you on goalkeeper. And those crosses, by the way, those lob crosses that are OP, and why it's so important to get a goalie with that ultra effect, which hopefully would help you out. But those crosses that are OP, it's not just regular square. If you don't know, it's L1 square, especially if you have an aerial beast up top. But even if you don't, those L1 square crosses, until they do the patch, because apparently they're making the defenders stronger and more viable to win those headers against attackers. But that's not until mid-January. So in the meantime, the L1 square crosses are definitely another way you can score goals. So appreciate you following the journey. We will start tomorrow in our Diamond Division quest to get through to the Premier Division, and then we are at the Promised Land, but it's not over yet, because then you start getting ranked, right? Then it starts becoming you're playing the best players in the game, period. And you win, you get higher ranked, you lose, you get lower, and you could even get demoted. So we're up there at the very top, and I just appreciate anybody and everybody that watches. So have a good one, and we'll see you next time. OG. Daily Grind, Episode 6, our first several games in Diamond 1 after being promoted from Ruby 1. You see there an overall pretty positive record. If I'm honest with you, not too much of an increase in competition from what I was facing in Ruby. A little bit. I'm starting to get more of those teams here and there that are true God squads, right? From front to back, just loaded with 90-plus players, if not close to a full starting 11 of 90-plus players. You see, I'm not quite there. But nonetheless, still competitive, right? It's not, even when I face those teams, it's not like they're unbeatable. And when I face teams that are a little bit or even sometimes a lot more lower than me quality-wise, it's still competitive. If you have skill in this game, you can hang in there, right? So with that being said, we will go ahead and get into our first game. See there, start off with the draw. Team was fairly decent, a Platinum 2 team. Here's a perfect example. I definitely out-team them. They have a few really weak spots, especially in defense, but it's just one of those things, man. If you got the skill, if you're able to defend, or maybe you just get lucky and your opposition is missing some chances, you're going to be able to stay in games. So here, we start off, signature play right there, close but no cigar for the L1 square cross, extremely meta, extremely OP. But then another signature corner kick here. No more CR7, but we have another beast, Haaland, and he does what he does best, puts us up 1-0 pretty early on. It looked like we might just, coast to an easy victory, but these are extremely hard to defend. I'd say in the 5-backer, or really any defense, those balls into the striker, those quick touch shots, because it's so hard to, switch your defender that quickly. So that ended 1-1. Going here to our second game. Again, it's a lot of just meta tactic after meta tactic. That's how you compete at this level. One of those near post runs from Haaland, I'm telling you, anytime your striker's making that near post run, play it on the ground. Play it on the ground. You see there, 2 goals. It's that simple. Skipped a couple goals there, but you get the gist, a 3-1 victory, and that bumped us up 1 bar in Diamond 1. And here's one of those God squads that I was speaking of. A few players, pretty similar to mine, right? Some very colorful and cool skins for sure, but the opponent actually got the scoring off with a little bit of a, what do you want to call it, a glitchy goal, a ratty goal, but it is what it is. You got to take what you can get. But my Haaland answers right back with a shot, but no dice. Still 1-0 the opposition. Let's see what we could do with this corner. I'm sure you can guess. The big boy Haaland, you see the goalies pull up. Usually when he does that, that means I'm going to try something different. The flick on, the Joelinton goal, right off of, I believe, Van Dijk. Take that, Van Dijk. 1-1. Now, it looks like we're about to take the lead here. What do you guys think? Mbappe marching up the left side. I'm seeing that near post run. You all know what that means. He stops, so I re-trigger him, keep him on side. Notice I made sure I made the run and was in position to do the ground cross before I triggered my striker. If you trigger your striker near post too early, he will be offsides. A little note to take there. But you see it done. You want to rewind it and watch it again to learn how to do it. Be my guest. And boom. 3-1. Same exact thing. I get ahead with Mbappe, then trigger Haaland. He's definitely on sides. Easy, near post, flick in, goal from a ground pass. And we move on to our next opponent. You see there, a little bit worse of a record, lower division, Platinum 3, but sometimes these are the hardest opponents, right? He has some sneaky good players. Obviously, Mbappe is very good, but then some very low players. And usually, this is the type of thing that happens. That was a very, very good goal right there. Good cross, Mbappe with the header. Love that goal, honestly. But we answer back. You see there, it kind of looks like a glitchy goal, but what happened was he was controlling his defender. As Mbappe touched the ball ahead, he overcommitted and ran right past the ball without tackling, allowing Mbappe to run in for the easy finish. So we took the lead. You see there, he tied it right back. He was a grinder for sure, 2-2. But Messi says, "Come on, man." Cuts inside, signature left-footed curling shot, another OP meta tactic to use in this game. And you see there, he was able to tie it though. Very glitchy goals, but he kept grinding, he kept fighting, and he got himself a tie. You can't be mad at it. Next opponent, Platinum 1. Decent record there, decent team. Nothing spectacular. But again, at this level, you got to be on your toes because you know your opposition's going to have skill. And that was a good goal. A good little run, a good finish. We go down 1-0, but we immediately come back at them. You see the air ball to Mbappe, trail to Udogie, back to Mbappe, and you know what's coming? The near post flick in. And it was 1-1, just like that. Here you go. Another corner. What will we do on this one? You see Haaland, and that's going to be a flick on and a finito. 2-1, we take the lead. Obviously, I really do want all this stuff, including these OP corners to get fixed. I mean, they are set plays, right? They're not just serving the ball into Van Dijk and nailing it in like an EAFC, but they're OP just because the percentage is too high. You virtually finish those every time. So, got the victory there. Here's another one to start off the next game. Another flick on. Early 1-0 lead. Then we go ahead and decide to add to it with another near post flick. Very repetitive, but you can see the results. This is what you have to do if you want to climb the ladder. If you don't take advantage of these meta tactics, you're going to be stuck for a month or however long it takes them to patch everything. And that's assuming they do patch all these things. Nice little flick on there. That striker to striker, striker to midfielder flick in the middle is very effective. It works very well. You see there, it works the ball in. Nice little move. That's one I had in a previous video. I felt like this player switch to Van de Ven was a little delayed. I might have got a little short change on that, but nonetheless, the opponent scored. I was up 2-1. This is an opponent that sat 10 players behind the ball. So I fully took advantage of that this game. He actually got me the game before, right? 3 quick goals in succession. I didn't catch on quick enough to his tactics, but luckily we matched back-to-back, and I was able to get immediate revenge and essentially cancel that with a win after a loss. Sorry. Another very good team here. This opponent, Angel and Demons, is very good. He got the best of me early on, but as time went on, I've just been able to take his number each and every game. You're going to see here, but he always fights back. You see his Haaland ties it up 1-1 there, and he even takes the lead. Nope, psych, blocked, pass there. We move in. It's 1-1. late in the game, 86th minute, you know what's coming. The near post run, he was blocked a little, but he still managed to get through because Haaland is a tank. And that was a late game winner from Haaland. Thank you very much. That is where we will end it off. So a pretty good start to Diamond 1. We still have a lot of work to do, though. 3 bars up. I'm hoping to put another good dent in it this next session. But definitely a bit of a step up in competition. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. Nothing that we can't handle. So far, so good. Thank you for watching. And until next time, have a good one.